Hello, friends.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 1.
We need more unique games. You know, it's something that I've been telling myself for the past year now. I've steadily seen games lose more and more of their virtues and just overall their quality over time. And I've seen a lot of my favorite developers wither away over time. Hell, some these studios just straight up shut down. Volition, for instance, shut down recently, and they had a 30-year-long run, and it sucked to see them go. And then you have developers that were much beloved by a lot of people, like DICE, and you see them make games like the most recent Battlefield, and judging by the reports that we've seen so far, it looks like the next Battlefield might be arguably worse, so yeah, I can't wait for that, you know? It's, fucking sucks. But, yeah, so let's talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly side of things. For starters, let's talk about Rockstar Games. For a little bit of backstory, Rockstar can trace the roots back to 1984. The company was first founded as Acme Software by members of a computer club in Dundee, Scotland. In 1987, the company changed its name to DMA Design and signed with the publisher Psygnosis. One of the most popular games DMA Design made in this period was Lemmings, which was released in 1991. In 1993, Psygnosis was bought by Sony, and DMA Design was out of a publisher. Over the next few years, DMA Design worked with a few different companies, including Gremlin Interactive and BMG Interactive. The first Grand Theft Auto was published by BMG Interactive, and in 1997, DMA Design was bought by Gremlin Interactive. Take-Two bought BMG Interactive in the Grand Theft Auto series, and in 1998, and over the year, created Rockstar Games. The following year, Take-Two bought DMA Design. DMA Design would go on to make Grand Theft Auto 2 and 3 before becoming Rockstar Studios. In 2002, later that year, the company would be renamed to Rockstar North. Rockstar North would go on to lead development of all mainline Grand Theft Auto titles, as well as making Manhunt and various other games that were spearheaded by their smaller branches. As of 2024, Rockstar employs almost 7,000 people across 6 continents. And while they have made excellent titles, their creative progress has been severely halted in recent years thanks in large part to GTA 5's online mode. Rockstar prior to 2013 had tried to make a successful online component for their games. The closest they got was with GTA 4's online mode, which was cool, but was still a very arcade-ish mode. However, when they first released GTA Online in October 2013, they saw it had potential. And while my ass would sit here and explain away all the content updates added till now, and internal issues, I must focus on what the main game effects were. A broken economy and less games being pushed out. Let's start with the economy. GTA 5's online component utilizes the internet in a massive way, which was introduced in GTA 4. It lets players fuck around on the various websites, but most importantly, lets them buy vehicles, homes, and illicit businesses to make profit off of them. But the issue with that, and what has been a complaint with players for over a decade now, is that the money one can make from heist and sales missions, or regular missions, pales in comparison to the amount of money you must spend in order to buy things, which amounts to almost $1 billion, probably even more, as of right now. So sweet sports cars can be triple, if not quadruple the amount of money you gain from activities, which creates a massive loop of grinding missions hours on end just to buy a handful of things. Of course, you can see the issue with that. And this issue has been mitigated by the community through glitches and exploits, which Rockstar rewards with the ban hammer. A lot of you may have been victims of the massive glitch plus ban wave that struck you in 2020. If you did the garage exploit, of which I was one of the misfortunate souls carried away. Of course, more recently, Rockstar has been releasing updates and smaller DLC like batches in anticipation for GTA 6, and they themselves sorta fixed the issues of money making through balances with more world events and patches, making selling money a little bit more profitable and less tedious, while also keeping prices at all-time motherfucking high. Also, their greedy shark cards they kind of force weak-willed players to buy. Then you have their games. Here's a list of games Rockstar as a company released from 1998 to 2013. Here's a list of games released from 2013 and now. You see, that's an issue. More so a problem. A company churning out masterpieces for 10 years and only turning out one masterpiece in the past decade. And at that, Red Dead 2 has its own major problem. No, not the story, of course. That baby came out the oven fresh. We're talking about its online mode. Released a month after RDR2 in November 2018, similar to that of GTA 5's online mode, the mode promised to be a Wild West version of GTA Online. And it did not disappoint. An arguably worse economy, terrible payouts, lackluster missions, and a barren open world, just like the good old days of GTA 5 Online. Rockstar was a little quicker with updates, and within a year, its first major update came out. And it actually looked promising. And for the next 3 years, they released major update after major update, and while not perfect, they show that RDR2's online mode can be a worthy side kick of GTA 5's online mode. However, in July of 2022, Rockstar announced that all content support was to be halted indefinitely, dooming the online mode to become stagnant, and even though it's being updated with daily events, players can't conduct heists, nor can you even own a house. And 3 years later, it somehow still manages to maintain a loyal fan base. There are a lot of contenders for this one, so I decided to go with Ubisoft. I'm using the Wikipedia page as I don't even trust them telling their own history. Founded in 1986 by the Guillemot brothers, probably butchered that name. The company originally began by distributing computer parts in France and then other parts of Europe. They then realized that video game development can rake in big money, so they switched to that side of the business and formed Ubisoft, a name that represents ubiquitous software. And over the next 20 years, they continued to build their business, developing titles such as Rayman, Prince of Persia, Assassin's Creed, a result of failed Prince of Persia sequel, the Tom Clancy titles, Watch Dogs, a godsend that is a rabbit. They even developed a video game that I hold close to my heart. That being 2005's Peter Jackson King Kong, the official game in the movie, and yes, that is the full name of the game. However, come the 2010s, something happened. Corporate interest that tanked their quality of games, and fast forward to now, we be getting shit like Skull and Bones, the so-called quadruple A game that somehow manages to take a dump on the legacy of something like Black Flag, and Star Wars Outlaw, which, with the current day Ubisoft, baffled me as to how they can be a pick for a Star Wars title. I mean, look at this. Okay, well, to be fair, that was a silly little clip, but it still gets my point across. And oh, don't get me started on Splinter Cell. However, they could somewhat create a good enough title. 2017's Ghost Recon Wildlands, while not everyone's cup of tea, was an enjoyable experience, and of course, Rainbow Six Siege is still going strong almost 10 years later. But then they released shit like Outlaws, Valhalla, and the upcoming Assassin's Creed title, which was marketed worse than Fallout 76. At least they had the decency to hand out actual canvas bags to the influencers. Ubisoft over here sending packages to Japanese content creators whose quality can best be described as if that shit was sent out by ChatGPT itself. Alrighty then, I have 2 games to share that are almost pitch perfect in every aspect. So this is pretty much a shout out portion. Let's begin with Outer Wilds. What began as Alex Beecham's college thesis at USC slowly morphed into a development cycle that culminated in the masterpiece that is Outer Wilds. The game, released in 2019 as players assume the role of a Hearthian, was one of many of these spacefaring people who, under the wing of the Outer Wilds program, explores their solar system beyond their home planet of Timber Hearth. But in no time will players be introduced to the Nomai, a long-dead advanced race of goat-looking people. They look kinda like goats to me. And the mystery behind them, and the reason why the sun keeps blowing up. I can't really explain much more as it defeats the purpose of the game itself, but I cannot highly recommend it to anyone but you. Then we have another game that makes you question everything, and that's 2015's Soma. Developed by Frictional Games, the same folks behind Amnesia, the game has you assume the role of a young Canadian guy named Simon Jarrett, who undergoes a life-altering surgery in 2015 in order to fix a traumatic brain injury he suffered from a car crash. After undergoing it, he seemingly wakes up in a foreign place, later finding out he's in the early 22nd century, in an underwater facility called Pathos 2, and that the world above has been annihilated by a cataclysmic comet strike. Comet. And by the time Simon wakes, the facility is in rough shape and overtaken by a hostile AI that once ran the facility's functions. Holy shit, I cannot speak. The WoW. Now running Pathos 2 is a sort of fucked up science experiment in order to preserve humanity. This game will really have you start questioning your existence once you complete it. I made this video in order to vent about something that I'm passionate about. Big developers and mostly investors tend to only hop on the train of whatever saturated market is out currently. Instead of thinking outside the box, this leads to things like Concord or the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League and Redfall being made, as they think basic game equals a lot of money. But what they fail to realize is that people tend to like games that are not broken, clunky, or financially predatory on release, but like games that have clear effort put into them. It helps that indie devs and fort development teams are considered the underdogs of gaming. Black Myth Wukong, based off the 16th century tale of a journey to the west, is a prime example of this. The team behind it, Game Science, are Chinese, and the game, which launched on the 19th of August only a few days ago as of writing this, has smashed records on Steam. And not only that, they took special love and care making this game, going as far as to scan and showcase temples that were around since the Lao dynasty, for example. It was fun writing this, working on a little something as I prepare for bigger projects. So make sure you look out for them in the future. Also, make sure you sub to my Patreon. It's linked in the description below, and on my channel's description. Bye.